Now, specifically, this committee set up to probe the management of fuel, of the fuel subsidy fund. Give us a picture of some of their findings. I mean, we know that a couple of oil marketers have, about 69, have been reined in and sort of told to pay back trillions of naira to the government. Give us a picture of what's happening.
Well, that's the main, the report was presented today. Of course, the probe has been sensational in terms of alarming revelations, in terms of discrepancies in figures, in terms of contradictory evidence from various departments of government as to the quantity of oil consumed in the country, the payments made, the total figure for subsidy in 2011. Some have said it's 1 trillion, 1.3 trillion, 1.7 trillion, differing figures. And the latest we hear is that the figure may even be a bit larger than that. But the significant point, and we were yet to see the details of the reports, we're going to see it tomorrow, but the significant point, like you hinted at, is that the committee believes, and this may yet be subject to further complications, but the committee believes that many of these companies have cheated the country out of billions, if not more, trillions of naira, and is asking them to repay. One of the things we found yesterday is that the committee was able to utilize international registers of fuel purchases to scrutinize and to essentially weed out what they believed were fictitious claims for subsidy that many of these companies had submitted to government and had been paid for. So, well, I'm sure that there's still some controversy ahead, perhaps litigation ahead, as some of these companies dispute the findings of the committee. But what we expect to follow is that the committee's report will be sent to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission or to the police, and then the police will take
Now, I do have a question. I mean, they did release a list of some of these 69 companies. Can you give us an idea of some of the companies that were on this list, international, local?
Well, I may be reluctant to begin to mention names because, like I said, this is the opinion of the House of Representatives Committee. And we know that many of these firms quarrel with the proceedings before the House, and perhaps will have issues with the findings. For one, it is possible that the understanding of the House Committee on the structure of the subsidy payments and all of that, and of the oil market, may be contentious. So, but we know who the major players in our oil sector are. The big internationals, the Mobil, the Total, the Nigerian firm Oando, which is the biggest farm in terms of the subsidies. We have a new large number of domestics who came into the oil, downstream oil business, less well-known names who have managed in a lesser fair environment to get into the list. But the major names in terms of those who do the downstream sector in Nigeria are the big 5, 6, 7, like Oando.
But let's go now to this other report, this 800-page document that was handed to the president. They're saying they think that the government should cut several of the statutory agencies of government. In fact, they actually gave us specific figures. Can you please give us a picture of what exactly the aim is of cutting these?
The whole complaint that by civil society in Nigeria, including some of us who have looked at the economy and all, is that we spend so much money on the current expenditure. Typically, our budgets every year contain 75% spending devoted to the current expenditure and just about 25% devoted to capital investment, capital expenditure. Everyone has recognized that this is a bit of an anomaly and that we're not going to have development in infrastructure, social services, and all of that if we're spending most of our budget on wages and salaries and overheads of public corporations. So that's what led to this panel. Now, an attempt to cut down the current spending, which inevitably involves some form of restructuring of the public sector. Now, this committee, like you said, has come up with a huge list. In fact, maybe a bigger list than most of us ever expected. Is questioning the existence of the EFCC, which is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, is questioning the existence of the ICPC, which is Independent Court Practices Commission, is saying that those functions are actually the function of the police.
Very quickly, are we going to see anything coming? Has the government come out, has the president come out and said he's going to do anything about this?
The government has set up another 10-man panel to produce what they call a white paper, an action plan on this first committee's report. But I expect there'll be a lot of controversy over this. Well,
certainly we'll be watching this closely. Thank you so much for joining us, Opeyemi Agbaje, political analyst and CEO of Research and Trust. Back to you, Hannah.
Uche, well, after the break, we gain some insight into how Green Office Week can make a difference to our generation's carbon footprint. Stay tuned for that.